It's Wednesday. It's our theme song. That means it's time for my favorite show of the week. It's What's Up, Big Rapids. We are your hosts. I'm Chris Jane.
And I'm Pat Brooks.
Before we even get into the show, we just want you to know, no matter who you are, no matter where you're from, no matter what you look like or what you have done, you are a loved and valuable member of this community. We're so proud of you, and we'll try not to waste even a moment of this one precious life that you have. Isn't that right?
That is always right. And like always, not to waste time, like button, comment button, subscribe button.
Be a friend.
Be a friend. Tell a friend. Actually, one thing I forgot to tell people to do, leave a review. 5 stars, preferably.
Yeah, you're right.
But like on your podcast, on your, anywhere you can drop a review for What's Up, Big Rapids.
Yeah, let's get this engagement going.
Yeah.
People are starting to dig it. The episodes with President Pink and with the mayor were awesome. We don't want to, we want to keep this momentum going. So let some people know, and we'll keep this thing rolling. How you been, bud? It's been like a long week.
It's been a full over a week since last time I seen you.
Mm-hmm.
I've golfed like 10 times since then. Working, busy, hot. We had city inspections this week.
Wow.
We took on a new property to manage. We got people moving and going and coming, and of course the 2 houses I'm working on right now, trying to get that whole situation.
You've been in remodel
nonstop.
mode.
Remodel mode.
Yep. I feel for you, dude, because in this heat, especially, man, kudos to you guys. I love you and Brandy's spirit, is always like just indomitable. You're just like, whatever it is, we're going to tackle it. We're going to fix it. We're going to get right, get right through
there's a YouTube video for everything. You can ask ChatGPT any question now, and it will give you a response that will pretty much...
do you use that when you're like fixing places up?
Sometimes, maybe not for like fixer up now YouTube. If I don't know how to do something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I will, chat GPT, hey, what's the best approach to do this? Is there a step I'm missing or something like that?
Or what does the code say about this?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of how the wife ended up changing her own condenser in her new car in our front yard on some ramps with no tools.
What a total...
Just dropped it and put a new one in
awesome...
like 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah,
she's amazing.
She's a rock star. That's really cool. But speaking of rock stars, if we're giving our wives little shout outs, I'll say not only do you guys impress me with your DIY spirit, but my wife has been quietly training for a marathon she this morning, I think she ran 6 or 7 miles. She's got to run 13 tomorrow. She's just been like, just doing it without like a lot of, without saying much about it. She's just getting in incredible shape. Meanwhile, I'm getting fatter. I'm getting, I'm getting older. I'm getting weaker. I'm not, all of this stuff. I'm like, I'm going to have to do something now. She's starting to run circles in me. And then on top of that, we went and saw F1.
Oh yeah.
Now I'm not going to give you a review. As you know, I only do reviews of movies that have been out at least 20 years. They got to be pretty old. But I will say, spend the money.
Okay.
Go see this movie in the theater.
Over Jurassic Park?
You know what? I
today or
didn't.
tomorrow?
Yeah, I was going to say Jurassic Park wasn't an option. I'm not saying do one or the other. Do both.
Okay.
But you should
support
see
your local
F1.
theaters. And
You should see F1.
Brad Pitt, right?
Brad Pitt is 61 years old.
There's no
people.
way. I've seen the trailers.
He's 61.
He looks like he's maybe 41.
And I felt so inferior. I felt like I needed to go from the theater
I feel like Brad
and
Pitt's
start working out.
Brad Pitt's been doing that for a long time, though.
Every morning since I saw that movie, I have thought about myself at 43 versus Brad Pitt at 61.
Don't do that to yourself.
And I'm telling you, something has to change. Okay, something has to give, and I'm okay, and I'm just putting that out there right now. You're going to start to see this guy, maybe
Brad Pitt look.
Well, probably never, but you are going to see him trying a little bit more.
Right.
Maybe seeing him jogging around town a little bit more and stuff like that. You guys might see me in the gym in the mornings. I might come move some weights around with you because not only do I want to live to have a shot at looking that good at 61.
Yeah, for sure.
I kind of just want to just at least try to keep up with my beautiful aging in reverse wife.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear you.
Because otherwise,
I had to do the same thing.
I'm going to have to be, worried all the time. You know what I'm saying?
Well, did you know today you are at this point moving forward, you are closer to 2050 than you are in the year 2000.
I saw that.
That's a little gut wrenching.
Let's take a little moment, let that settle in. Right now, as of the moment you're hearing this, you are closer to 2050 than you are to the year 2000.
Y2K be gone.
Yeah.
Do kids even know what that means?
I doubt it. Kenzie, do you know what Y2K was?
Okay.
You did say in the microphone what it was. What was Y2K? What was everyone so scared of?
First of all, you weren't born yet, but go ahead.
And put yourself on camera if you can. Okay. Kenzie's filling in for Dom this week.
Wasn't Y2K like the world was ending? It was coming to an end. Mm-hmm. So everyone was
Why?
Why? Do you know why?
What was it that was going to cause such a problem?
I want to say it was like a black hole, but that might
No. You know what? It was something so much dumber than that.
So much dumber than
Literally all it was some computer programming language that put the years in as 2 digits instead of 4. And they thought that when it rolled over to 0 for 2000, from 99 to 0, it might think that it was in the year 1900 and stop and like cease to stop
processing money in banks.
They thought the banks were going
mortgage companies.
Everything that was run by software was all going to stop working because of this simple,
including the internet, which was barely around. I mean, it was around, but
pretty early on.
Pretty early on.
They thought that the nuclear weapons would launch themselves, and that everything would just go become like a post-apocalyptic wasteland.
Yep.
There was a lot of fears. A lot of fears.
Yeah. And Prince even made a song about it.
Yeah. Fortunately, we're so much more evolved now.
Yes.
We don't allow simple things to scare us all into panics anymore. So that was the year 2000, everybody. It's pretty good, but you don't have to worry about it anymore.
So you went and seen F1.
I went and saw F1.
What else did you do this weekend?
Oh, dude. It was a huge weekend. Sunday was all about music for the community. It was all like an all-day music marathon for me. Guitar at Res Life all morning. I did catch a glimpse of you there, but I didn't get to say hello. Yeah. And then right downtown, Handed Giants played on the Pride stage at 1, and then Raised on Radio. I played with them later in the day as well. So it was like a full game. Hot day.
You got to be at church at like 7, right, or 6?
6:45. Yeah, 6:45 call time. We start rehearsing
6:45 to 6:45 probably.
You're right. That is about what it was. It was a 12-hour music day. But come on, I mean, I'm not complaining. And of course, none of those were paid gigs because that was all volunteer. Every bit of that was volunteer work too. So, but I'm not complaining because I would rather spend my time that way, honestly, than in a lot of the ways that I have been spending it lately.
I hear you.
But getting some more of my time back now and hoping to do even more music. Like tonight, for instance. If you're hearing this, it's probably already late Wednesday, July 2nd. If it's too late, I apologize. But if you can make it out to the Bandshell tonight, it's a special, special night. Not only is the Ferris Community Concert Band going to put on a wonderful show full of patriotic, like 4th of July type songs. It'll be a great concert. It's all free. But it also marks the last concert for their season, but more importantly, for their director, Professor Scott Cohen, who's been with Ferris for a really long time. He's been the director of this band for decades. And, on top of that, has been instrumental in a lot of the other artistic projects around Big Rapids. Like, for instance, this book, that was produced in the last couple of years. It's called The Public Art Collective, a guidebook to public art in Big Rapids, Michigan. He was very involved in the committee.
Where can you get that book?
They're free. Guys, they are free, or at least they were initially. They're free. They wanted everyone in Big Rapids to be able to have one. They got a grant to be able to print them and do that. And I think you can get them at Artworks. I know you can get them at Artworks, and you can probably get them at a couple of other places too.
I don't think normal, like the general citizen doesn't realize how much art is pumped into the city.
It's true, and honestly,
not only Bird City but also Art City.
This isn't even inclusive, or like all inclusive.
Right.
There's, for instance, I have 2 public murals that are not in this book, and I know that there are others around town too, other pieces of art that haven't made it in the book. But we have so much art, statues, murals, etc., that it was enough to facilitate an entire book. So anyway, my deepest admiration and respect for Scott Cohen and his career, the music department. He was instrumental, no pun intended. He was instrumental in bringing the marching band back to Ferris.
Very cool.
And
this is the first year back, right? For the marching band?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. To my knowledge, it will be. They haven't started yet.
Okay.
It'll be in the fall.
Gotcha.
So he's leaving before actually getting a chance to kind of see that come to fruition, but he'll still be in the area, and we wish him the best. If you want to come out and kind of celebrate him tonight at the Bandshell, 7 o'clock, bring a chair, free concerts, okay?
And probably an umbrella or something.
Maybe for the sun. Yeah, it's going to be sunny.
Pretty bright.
If you miss it, or if it's too late by the time you're hearing this, don't worry. There are free concerts at the Bandshell at 7 o'clock every Wednesday night for basically the rest of the summer, to at least the middle of August. So you've probably got 6 or 7 more weeks of concerts. Make sure you get out there. That's it for the concert thing tonight. What have you got, bud?
4th of July is this weekend. Celebrating America, baby.
You gonna get to the fireworks?
We are. We're actually planning on it's going to be a long day for us. I know work, not being in on Friday, we're going to go down to Sand Lake and watch some demo derby on Friday. But tomorrow, after a long day of work, we're actually going to find ourselves out at the Mecosta County Fairgrounds, the Big Rapids Area Fireworks Spectacular, brought to you by Big Rapids Township, City of Big Rapids, and Mecosta County Development Corp. At the fairgrounds at dusk.
And dusk, I wonder. Oh, you know what? It says 10:15.
It does have a time on it.
Because I was thinking, like, when is dusk now? 9? But like you were saying, it might even be closer to 10, and they're saying 10:15. So probably the best thing to do is, head out there in the late evening there. Bring your blankets, your chairs, bring some snacks. They usually have food trucks and stuff.
Yep.
And just prepare to
If you've never
hang
been
out.
to there, you come, I don't remember the road, but it's the north side of the fairgrounds, right in through that parking lot right there is always good access, or you can come from the Grand. They'll point you in the right direction. So also go check out their event. There's a ton of other sponsors. So thank you everybody for donating and making this happen.
Yeah, it was very close to not happening at all. So we really appreciate the city, the township, and the MCDC for stepping up and making this happen for the people. I haven't gotten to go to Big Rapids fireworks in a few years. Well, not that I haven't gotten to. It's just that my family usually does something out on Big Lake, and there's usually a nice little fireworks presentation out there,
I'm
too.
not gonna lie, I kind of like the night before the 4th, and that kind of. So we're gonna go down the demo derby, and then we'll probably
you're gonna
find
get multiple nights of fireworks.
Yeah,
I think,
if we want to, I probably won't, but but it'll be a nice weekend. We'll probably get some grilling done or something. But I got a lot of work to do on these houses, so that'll be my weekend.
Okay. Well, next week the fair opens.
Does.
And so if anybody is wondering about, kind of what to do with the kids here over summer break,
there's a
we go.
Full list.
So it starts Monday. It looks to me like it's all of next week, starting with and they've got events every day, from harness racing to figure 8 racing to rodeo to demolition derby.
Grandstands are packed this year.
The Midway is going to be open Tuesday through Saturday. Okay, 1 to 11 basically every day. But Kids Day, listen up, guys. This one is important. Wednesday, that'd be the 9th probably. That's Kids Day, and they open an hour earlier. So they're open at noon.
And I'm almost positive with the Kids Day, that band lasts all day.
It does.
That's the thing with the Kids Day is you don't have to buy the 2 bands because, this one will probably work from 1 to 5, and then you got to get a new one.
Oh, is that what they do?
Sometimes they do that. I don't know the exact. You have to get on Skirback's website. But
Kids Day is usually the best value, but.
I also know the ag schedule is up on the fair website too. So there's a full day of agricultural 4-H, from all the shows to, they have, all the classes getting judged and all that type of stuff. But also the livestock sale on Thursday. I know that's always a big,
you're right.
Big one.
That's a big fundraiser.
Go support those kids that are at the fair next week.
I tried to bid on something once and I got destroyed. Like the people who actually won paid way more than. I mean, those
Sometimes,
things,
man, you see some of those pigs
aggressive.
and cows go.
Yeah.
Like if grandma and grandpa own a business and they're
Yes.
sponsoring the kid,
Yeah, they pay up.
they're paying what those restaurants are charging for Wagyu. You know what I mean?
Also, we'll be there at the chicken barbecue. I don't know if you're going to be there.
We will. I think. Wednesday morning.
I'm going to be there July 8th in the morning. That's Tuesday. Then I'm going to be there the 9th on Wednesday in the afternoon, working the grill with my fellow Rotarians. So
yeah, no, that's I see the email. $18 for a dinner this year. You can grab it. You can drive through. You can take them home. Come support Angels of Action. It's a big fundraiser for them, and we like giving back. So. A couple other things, because it is Fair Week real quick, the Celebrity Sulky Race Infield Party is up. That's on Tuesday.
Do we know anybody who's in it this year?
I have seen the list of the racers, and I don't remember who's racing.
Oh. Well, good luck, you guys.
Yeah, no, that
always seems kind of like...
I've never.
Seems like it could be scary. No,
have you went to the infield party?
I have.
You
yeah,
have?
I've been to that a couple times. I was invited to be a next year's racer one time, but then I never heard anything more about it. And honestly, I've always been a little scared of horses. I've gotten over it. But I've always had I got bit by a horse when I was younger, and I've always had a little bit of a fear of them. So to be like,
I got tossed off one at a very young age, like 5, 6, and it wasn't nothing crazy. I didn't get hurt, but from that point on,
I just don't trust them that much. They're big.
They're big. They're very big.
They're big.
And then also, I found on today at the beer tent on Monday, there's going to be some live music. Colin Coffee performing live 7:30 at the Elks Beer Tent there on the fairgrounds on Monday night.
Very cool. I'm not. I don't know that name, but it's a cool name, and I didn't know that the Elks were having a beer tent. But that's awesome.
Yeah.
Now I'm embarrassed to say this because, I am an elk, but is this something they do every year? Is there always an Elks beer tent?
Elk does the beer tent.
Very
I'm pretty
cool.
sure the Elks is the ones that they generate the funds, but also they're the volunteers. They always. Yeah. You can always tell.
That sounds fun. I guess I have not ever been to that. Well, I cannot stop yawning. Kenzie, you're going to have to keep the camera on Pat today because I just keep on yawning.
And then one I also wanted to touch on. I was looking around, seeing what was available and open, and I keep coming across the Big Rapids Community Library because of how many events they're hosting all summer. Go check out their Facebook. Their event page is loaded from indoor stuff to what looks like some outdoor stuff. Keep the kids nice and cool and busy.
Good on you, Pat, for bringing that up. Leave that right up there. Look at all the events that the library has this summer. And I guarantee, unless it's like a craft thing where there's materials involved, they're all free. They have sensory story time,
Monday Arts.
Yep, art and nature.
Some more story time. Some Discovery Garden Club.
They got a garden club.
Man,
right?
Just so much stuff.
And I mean, air conditioning. They've got it. If you're just struggling, go hang out at the library for a while. Let the kids get a bunch of books. Open their world up to something completely new. Try an activity. Maybe join a group. There's a lot of resources at the library, so check it out.
There's just so many. It was mind-blowing. Also, popped up last second, I wanted to touch on real quick, but the farmers market's open on Saturday.
Oh, wow.
The grand opening for the farmers market. They used to do Wednesday and Friday. City kind of deemed Wednesday to not be as successful as they wanted it to be, so now they're going to do a Friday and Saturday.
Yeah, I think people were saying that they would use the farmers market if they could get there, but it was only open during working working hours. Mm-hmm. So it could make it tough for some people to get there. But yeah, if that's you, now the city's trying out some extended hours. So please make it worth it for the vendors because they're taking 9 to 3. Looks like they're taking their. You're probably right. It's probably only 9 to 1, but they're taking their Saturdays. They probably have opportunities to be at other. Mm-hmm. Other markets. So, hopefully this will work out for them.
Yeah, I'm rooting for it. So,
okay.
No, it's there's a lot going on, a lot coming, and of course the holiday always makes it seem like there's even more. So,
a lot coming and going. If you guys see anything happening in the community, remember to just tag us in it. Just do hashtag WUBR so that we see it and know what's going on. We appreciate you guys doing that, and we're going to keep giving away prizes throughout the weeks to people who do. But right now, if it's okay with you, I feel like we've run into a bit of a wall.
A bit of a wall.
And it's a wall of our own making, and it's a wall in my own mind. And here's what it is. It's basically that when we started this, we're almost 6 months in now.
Close.
Okay, this is our 25th show. Next week will be our 6-month kind of anniversary of doing
we'll have
this.
to take the pictures of us laying on those mats that says 6 months.
Should we start doing something like that? Start a little habit. But I feel like we may have flown too close to the sun already because
Icarus action.
Yeah, I only had a couple of goals for this. One was just for us to do it,
We're still trying to do that.
And we're still trying to do that. That's good. So we're doing that. The other was that I had a couple people that I thought would be fantastic guests. I wanted to get the mayor and I wanted to get the president of the university.
2 for 2.
I got them both.
That puts you in the Hall of Fame. Batting 100.
At least in terms of my own goals, I suppose. So I feel wonderful. They were both excellent guests, but now what do we do? You know what I mean? Like, where do we go from here? Who do you interview?
Lots of people have asked.
Yeah, we've had some people be like, hey, we want to be on the show too. And it's like, but I don't want to do that to them.
Yeah.
Like, who wants to follow those men?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, so I wasn't really sure. I was sort of feeling like we were in a bit of a, conundrum here. What do we do now? Where do we go from here? And so I thought it might be wise to maybe look outside of ourselves.
Yeah.
Maybe look at someone else who's done this before, who's doing this now, and could maybe give us some insight, give us a little bit of maybe some direction we hadn't thought of yet.
For sure. Always taking any kind of feedback and just not criticism, right?
Yeah. Or
whatever
it is.
Whatever.
I like reading the comments. So I thought, what we really need is to maybe have a chat with somebody who has already been doing this a while and can give us a little bit of hand. So I looked a little bit south of us to Montcalm County, where a friend of mine has a podcast. It's called Discover Montcalm, and the Discover Montcalm podcast. And he's been at it now a lot longer than us. And so I thought maybe we could get him to, give us a little bit of direction, some tips, some tricks, just something to help us turn this, to take it to the next level.
Keep
it going.
Keep bringing it to bigger efforts.
Keep it going. So I reached out to him. He was super gracious. He would answer any question, very knowledgeable. And I thought, what better way to sort of have this conversation and just get him on the show?
Why not?
And let's talk about where this podcast, What's Up Big Rapids, is going to, where are we going to head next? And maybe there's something we can take from the Discover Montcalm, from their trajectory, and put it to play in our own little show world here. Yeah. All right, does that make sense?
That sounds good to me.
All right, so I reached out to Duane Weed. He is the host of the Discover Montcalm podcast, and also has a lot of Mecosta County crossover. And so he, I think, better than anybody might know, where should we take this thing next?
Yeah,
what kind of, what can we...
Like, obviously, people want the events and that kind of updates and stuff.
Yeah, we want to keep it
else?
infotaining, but also, how can we highlight what's, some of the stories that are in our community? And I think this is the guy to do it. So if you would help me welcome the host of the Discover Montcalm podcast, our neighbor to the south, Mr. Duane Weed.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And I almost expected you to have a drum roll in the beginning.
Well, here, how about this? Yeah. I'm going to do it again. Mr. Duane Weed.
Okay, I'm a legend in my own mind now.
There we go. How are you, sir? Welcome to the show.
Well, I'm doing well, and thank you for having me on here. I appreciate it when I reached out to you and you came down on my podcast because we're expanding outside of the county lines, 140-ish episodes
140. Wow.
And
I'll probably be bald by then.
Yeah, you'll look like me and Duane.
Well, and with me, I've been looking at how I can go outside of the county line because we don't have fences around our counties. We don't have fences around our towns. And we should be doing businesses all over.
Yeah.
So I opened up and decided to do Chatting Local as a part of the Discover Montcalm podcast, and that's when you graciously came down.
Yeah,
and
I didn't tell these
if I was
guys. I didn't even bother telling anybody yet, but and it hasn't come out yet. But you guys can look forward to an episode that I did on Duane's show that was really cool because Duane's show is a little bit more long form interview. Where we try to give bite-sized little pieces of local what's happening. Duane sits down with people from his community and has conversations. It's really, really cool. And so I went down.
He actually wants to get to know them.
Yeah, he gets to know
Well,
them.
I do, and in a lot of cases, I don't. When they walk in the door, I don't know who they are.
Yeah.
I mean, I know who, but
Right.
My basis is get to know the person behind the sign.
Yeah.
And I don't care if it's a nonprofit, I don't care if it's an event, a festival, whatever. Who are the people behind it that make it all come together? And then also opening it up on my podcast to talk to community members, people that have lived here forever.
That's
talk
interesting.
about
That is
history. Bring these people in. And I told you a few stories, before we came on about some that I had done, and these people aren't here anymore. And the fact that we had, we got that legacy.
That's really good.
We have that.
Yeah.
And I know that when you and I were talking, when you were down to my studio, just in conversation, all of a sudden, Chris, when his mind starts to work,
It's rare.
It's not smoke, right?
Well,
No smoke?
it didn't smoke, but he slowed his talk.
Whoa.
And all of a sudden I'm like, okay. And then he goes, yes. So that's why I'm here.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, you definitely sparked some great ideas for me that day. I love that idea of interviewing people who maybe don't have anything to promote. They're just interesting because of the time they've spent. You know what I mean? Because of the who they are and the life they've lived. They're fascinating, and that you've gotten to have those conversations with them as maybe the last or maybe one of the only long form conversations with that person ever recorded for posterity's sake.
Well, and unfortunately,
and now they're gone. Right.
Yeah, unfortunately, since I started, there's probably 5 or 6 that have passed. A couple very unexpectedly.
Yeah.
And the fact that I have their story is
what an honor.
Is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And with the podcast, it's about businesses, attractions, and people. Okay, that communities. It opens me up to whatever it is I want to talk about.
Yeah.
And the well is really deep. And you and I went into a deeper conversation about that, drum roll clash. The fact that, don't limit yourself, and that's one thing that I'm looking at is, whether it's a business or a nonprofit or just somebody that's been in the community. One of my favorites is a lady that I interviewed when I think she was 99.
Whoa.
And, think back 100 years. We didn't have communications like we have communication. It was a train ride from Trufant to Howard City, Trufant to anywhere, and that's where she grew up. The fact that her mom would have been amazed at a washing machine. Things that we take for granted every single day. And it was an honor to be invited to her 100th birthday party.
That's cool.
Absolutely.
That's cool.
And it was fun. It was kind of a little uncomfortable in the sense that I had to shout because for hearing, and it felt like I was
we know how great shouting is for precision microphones.
But but from there, just talking to the people that are doing nonprofit work, that are in the school system, that they're in the community doing whatever.
Yeah.
And now that I'm opening it up to go outside of my county line, with my chatting local aspect, kind of opens it up a little bit more because business is done everywhere.
Right.
There's attractions everywhere. There's things to do. Everybody's looking for a day trip. Right. Mecosta, come down to Montcalm and check us out.
Right.
Montcalm, come up to Mecosta and check us out. Let it flow.
Or to
both
Newaygo
ways.
To the Dragon's Trail or something like that.
Exactly.
Golf courses on Friday. That was actually talked about all that golf I did. We were in Greenville golfing at Glen Cary on Friday. So we all offer each other stuff, and
right. We, like you said, there's not some fence where we all stay in our communities. We all partake of what the other has to offer, and
we can't survive if it's just our community.
Amen.
We have to go outside it. And one of the things that I had mentioned to you was you had your list. Mm-hmm. That's a good list.
Yeah.
But there are 1,000 other people that you
might
could bring on.
me. Yeah.
And it's just the fun. Get to know them, whether they're the local business owner or whether they are somebody that has lived here for forever.
Where would you recommend we start, or how should we maybe rotate through various, you probably wouldn't want to interview 5 engineers in a row, because then everybody would be like, oh, this is just an engineering podcast.
Right.
But if we interview an engineer and then a librarian and then a nonprofit worker and then a this or what, how would you tackle it if you were starting?
If I was you, you've got 5-6 people on your team. Mm-hmm. Each one of you take a piece of paper and write down people you know.
Okay.
People
Kenzie, we know.
People that Okay, all of your circles are different.
Yeah.
Though some of them will
overlap.
But who, and don't think they don't
the
have presidents
to be like who we would think would be great or something.
Yeah, just who do you know that's got some good stories? That has
some people with some stories.
Well, that could be dangerous.
Well, but
we don't need
but
pets.
it is. The nice thing is, the beauty of this is you're the producer. You can decide who is on, who is off. I mean, you guys have that ultimate control.
Yeah.
The only thing that I have on mine is I won't go political.
Right. Same.
There's
we
other podcasts for that, and that's just something that I said from day one.
Oh, that's good.
I will
Especially
do anything.
When you're a local podcast, you can't. I don't think you can afford to, because I mean, especially at the local level, we all are sharing this space. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? We're all in this together. We're all the same resources.
I think there's a big reason why it's a big deal when a celebrity or an athlete steps out and endorses a politician, because they've segregated part of their audience out. And, and when you're only 20, 30, 40,000 people in the county.
Not only are we not trying to do that, we don't even want to do that.
And it's not my personality.
Exactly right.
It's not my personality at all.
Our goal is infotainment, which is what we define as a show that brings the weekly happenings and does it in a way that's sort of lighthearted and fun. Doesn't take itself too seriously. Yeah. And your show is
similar, but it's also it's getting to know the people behind the sign.
Getting to know the people behind the sign. That's his mission.
Yeah, and
ours is
and that to me is fun because, I just interviewed a new chamber director down in Greenville, and that'll be coming out in a few weeks. Right now I'm in the summer mode, so I'm trying to backlog a bunch of these.
Now, you've been doing the show long enough now. Are you having people reach out to you wanting to come on and share their stories, or is it still like you're having to go find?
I'm still having to go find, but I am getting people wanting to reach out. Recently just had the Sheridan Community Hospital, the person there reached out to me about bringing the president of the hospital on, which is cool. I mean,
cool.
it gets to a point.
Absolutely.
See, the beauty of what we're doing, and it's similar to and I have the podcast. You can, get us on the different platforms, but I also run it on YouTube.
Right.
Well, that YouTube, they can take that and they can embed it.
Right.
And because it's all about them.
Right. It's good marketing pieces.
It's good for them. And just as you said, it's kind of a long form. I was with a customer this morning that we're redoing their website and we're redoing some certain things. And I said, hey, why don't, you and your brother come on? Because the dad, the owner, I'll never get him on camera. That's not him. That's not his personality. And that's cool.
Yeah.
But I said, why don't the two of you come on and talk about what you guys are doing here in Howard City? I mean, it's big.
Right.
Well, those little stories are everywhere. So to answer your question, yes, I get people that are getting with me. I wish it would happen more often.
Yeah.
But I'm very diligent about this thing. It's a passion.
Yeah.
So I guess we could build a list of all
we
the people
definitely
that
can
we
do
know, leverage who we know, and force them to come on the show.
Yeah.
2, ask people, right? Hey, if you want to come on, you have an
or
interest,
if
you have an
know
event,
someone
or
that
if you
is
know somebody that
interesting.
is interested, you could reach out to us.
What kind of stories would do you think, be most interested in getting out there? Like,
Don't limit.
don't limit it. I don't want to limit myself. I remember when I went through Leadership Macosta, I was blown away. And I've said this before, but I was blown away by what I didn't know was happening, in the county, that there are people living really big stories out. Like they're doing really big things.
You remember their names?
Important things. No, of course not. I don't remember any.
Sit down and if you can remember some of
Exactly
those,
right.
there's your list.
Well, what I meant was, I know those stories are out there, just like you're saying. They are out there, and they're not seeking attention. They're not clamoring for it. They're just getting on with doing what they're doing. And some people are doing some really awesome stuff. So, how do we find them? We already know some of them, so we make our list. B, we put it out to the audience to suggest. And maybe we try every week from now on to get a guest in here, or most weeks to get a guest to do a segment like Duane's doing for us.
Even if it's a short little, hey, tell us your story.
You know what? Let me give a little more plug for Duane. If anybody needs professional services in the realm of the internet, the web in general, video, website production, he has a company called DW Multimedia that handles a lot of that stuff. They can make commercials for your business. They can make websites for your business. They can manage all that stuff. They can do your social media. They can do tons of stuff if you need it.
Yeah, since 1984. I'm just a young pup.
And he barely has time to do any of that these days. That's not really true, but he took he ended up getting brought on because of his skills. He ended up getting brought into the ISD down there in
the Montcalm Area Career Center.
Their career center, to help teach the kids production, that type of stuff. And it was so popular. Now he's full time at that. So he doesn't have full time to do your websites and
but
stuff.
I still have time.
He can.
I know people.
Yeah.
I've got a crew
There
of
you go.
very seasoned professionals that we're still doing stuff.
There you go. And you guys know that in this day and age, the only thing that catches people's eyeballs, it seems to be those videos.
And just to let you all know, I started my business in Morley in 1984.
Let's go.
Pat's a Morley kid.
So
Go
I'm
Warriors.
a Mohawk. And met a gal from Sand Lake, and we looked from Rockford to Big Rapids for a home, and ended up in Howard City, and we've been there ever since.
Yeah.
It wasn't necessarily on our radar, but that's
where you found.
We found our little place, and we like it, and raised our family, and so
Funny how that happens, right?
it is.
I'm not from here either, and look at us.
Yeah.
Look at us go.
I mean, and that's the fun part. And I can even give you some, maybe a couple names. I'm just trying to think in the back of my head that, when we're done, I can give you some names to add to your list.
That'd be great. I mean, even as you're sitting here, I was just thinking about all of the other, just community organizations that we were talking about earlier, like Band of Locals. You were instrumental in getting that up and running back in the day.
I was one of them that was there when it happened.
You guys know Band of Locals, right? That's a Big Rapids thing. That's like a
Acosta County. Yep.
Yeah, it's a Acosta County thing, and it's similar, but it's its own thing from like the DBA or a chamber or any other, group.
You can save money.
Yeah,
you can save money with your band
by
of
shopping local. Yeah.
And on the way up, I called Carlene because I was like, okay, when did the band of locals start? And she goes, I don't remember the exact. Well, I did some more research and I came across a Pioneer article in 2011 that said Band of Locals celebrating 3 years.
There you go.
11, 10, 9, 2008.
Pushing 20 years.
Wow.
I mean, it won't be long. It'll be a 20-year-old operation. But groups like that in the DBA and the Chamber and the Visitors Bureau, I think we would find a lot of good people that we could relate to very easily, because those are the kind of people that are, trying to bring something new, and so that's good. But then, teachers, you had talked about like interviewing somebody who had been in education a long time, and I thought, wow, I bet they've got something to say.
Superintendents.
Exactly right.
Teachers.
The beauty.
Tons.
Okay.
I would love to talk to a kindergarten teacher, someone who's been a kindergarten teacher like the longest.
Like Mrs. Knox.
Yeah, or Miss Gardner or something, and get
My
their
kindergarten teacher who's
get
might
their
still be at Lawrence Town,
perspective
I don't
on
know.
things. Because I bet you that we would all walk out of here feeling just a little bit better.
I bet.
You know what I mean? After a talk like
kindergarten
that.
teacher? Yeah. Yes. 100%.
Great idea. Well, I'm
Write that down.
I'm excited.
Yeah. Somebody taking notes
Yes.
here.
Kenzie,
Transcribe the video later.
Try to get us a kindergarten teacher.
So you also mentioned that you'll do like highlights on events and stuff. I mean, you have good success with that kind of stuff too?
Yeah. We're starting to get people coming in going, I would love to go out to all these festivals and do a big production, but that costs money.
Yeah.
That takes time.
Yeah.
So what I've done is I'm starting to bring people into the studio to talk about it, because the way we do it is, let's make it timeless. I'm not, you guys have the
Ours
advantage.
is very dated, every show.
But and there's a positiveness to that's a uniqueness that you guys have.
Right. But you're right, it's not evergreen like your stuff.
Where I'm trying to keep it, I'm bopping around the county trying to get different things. So I'm having people from festivals and different organizations come in and just talk about it.
About why they're doing it. And that.
Yeah. How did they get started?
Right.
The chamber director that's just started, she says, well, what can you give me? I says, well, I'll tell you what, give me the history of the Greenville Area Chamber. Look that up. And, even though she had to because she hadn't been there very long, of course. But I said, to me, that's the important part. It started way back at this time.
Yeah.
And as you're going through things, don't put fences around your city. I know it's what's up Big Rapids, but you got all of Acosta County.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's always sort of been the goal.
We've kind of, a couple things we've highlighted in Morley or in Reed City, or, we brought up the Lilac Festival over in Barrington.
We got the Celebration on the Pond coming up in August.
Yeah, we certainly are trying to anyway. We don't want to be like exclusionary or anything like that, because, I was going to say, like we had mentioned the Dragon's Trail before, or Caberfet up in Cadillac or something like that. There are things that are not even in our county that we use, and that we love, and that
the residents of Big Rapids should be doing, knowing about for sure. We're
better off having. So, I like this idea of taking the limits off a little bit and beginning to have. What else could be fun? I'm just spitballing here, but maybe when we get that kindergarten teacher in here, or the superintendent or whoever it is, we treat them a little bit like a guest host of the show that day too. And no matter what it is we're talking about, we throw that at them as well. So then every week it's like a little bit of a different mix.
Yeah,
we're getting a different perspective.
Like that. That's good.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, it's nice.
Who wants to co-host with us?
Yeah,
let us know.
Yeah, you're kind of it's got a basic outline, but it's not scripted.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And I like to say my podcast, hopefully you get it from it. It's like I was sitting down with a person over coffee.
Yeah. Just an authentic chat about life at that moment. It's not, You know, nothing more or less than that.
And if I stopped and turned around and interviewed you again, it'd be a little different.
Exactly right.
You know,
because we'd be different people then a little bit.
You know, even in 20 minutes, I've had some podcasts that we got all done and something didn't work and I had to redo it. Well, the second one seemed to be a little shorter.
Sure.
But you know, we still covered stuff, but there's something about
we know that word.
We screw the show up all the time and have to redo it.
Done
Or
our intro so many
in
different
fact,
times.
if you watch this episode carefully, kids, you might notice a couple of edits where we had to fix some things that, you know, again,
Drop that in the comments too.
We're out. Kenzie's doing an awesome job. She's holding down Dom's job and her job. And, you know, so we're going to have a show for everybody, but at various times today, I thought we weren't recording video, we weren't recording audio, and yet I'm having a ball.
But here we are. Here we are.
I'm so glad you came down, Duane. I really am.
Well, I'm glad that you invited me, and I believe at this on July 2nd, probably within 2 to 3 weeks, your episode will be on.
Cool.
Because I had a vision to move outside of the county on mine.
Yep.
You know, it took me 140 episodes
or
so to get there.
You're
but
like
I wanted to do it right
breaker.
because it's Discover Montcalm.
Yeah.
You know, if I'm going to go outside, why am I going outside? I had to really wrap that around my head to make sure that I wasn't getting away from my mission.
Sure.
And I'm only fighting with myself. I mean, when it comes right down to it, but I wanted to be true to the what, and I went, okay, we don't have moats.
Yep.
You know, we don't have fences. It's not an every week thing.
Yeah.
But let's move out and let's feature some places around.
Let's tell the stories behind those signs.
Yeah. And, you know, whether it's a day trip or whether, oh my goodness, there's a business around here that could help my business grow.
Right.
I didn't know they were there. You
Absolutely.
know.
Yep.
Well, that's what I guess that's what I'm hoping for us and for this show going forward too. Then,
I still remember the day we sat down and we drew out the old master plan, and we did not have any fences on that.
It's true.
Did you share the napkin?
Yeah, we kind of wrote it down on a napkin, basically like, hey, listen, what if we did a show? We could call it this, we call it that, we could do this, we could do that. I think there was a plan that had 3 of us hosting at one time.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm glad where we've landed.
This is
right
perfect. Right where we're supposed to be.
I'm encouraged now that we've had a chance to talk to you, because now I do really feel like there's no limits. Yeah. And before I was feeling a little bit of a sophomore slump coming off of the mayor and Dr. Pink. I wasn't sure how we could how we could keep that kind of momentum going, or like somehow keep raising the bar. But really, there is no bar. There are just people and stories, and there's just a community waiting for us to interact with it. Mm-hmm. And so I want to thank our guest today, Duane Weed from DW
Video and Multimedia, but more importantly from the Discover Montcalm podcast, which you can find on all of the platforms where you would think you would. Yep, you can find them on all the socials.
Apple, Spotify, all the stuff.
I'm not on Spotify yet. But
you should probably just stay off of there. They don't treat artists very well.
Okay.
You know, that's where we are, guys. Ours is hosted on Spotify. They and it's only out of because they make it very easy, but they don't treat artists very well. So I don't blame you. But you can find his show, Discover Montcalm podcast, and I recommend that you do, because again, they are just to the south of us, and I've got so many cool things happening in and around their county, just like we do too. So if you are living just a little bit to the south to us, that might be a really great companion podcast. And the episode with me on it, talking a little bit about this show and about my background, will be up in a couple of weeks. And you know what? I think it might be, I was going to say, I'm trying to think if I've been a guest on anybody's podcast ever, maybe. So this might be my first ever guest appearance on somebody's podcast.
Hopefully I made it pleasant for you.
You did. It was really cool. And, it's so much fun to go talk shop with somebody else. Pat and I and the team here, we've put a lot of effort into building out this studio. It's taken us 6 months to get it to this point, and we're still wrestling with things all the time. And so Duane being able to show how he's doing things, he does things his way. He helped me out with a workflow issue already. And so he's already helped make what's.
And I'm going to follow you. I'm going to steal from you guys too.
Good.
I mean,
good.
that's
Please
the way
do.
it works.
That's it. Exactly right. Yeah. If you can get some of these cool, colorful,
I like those.
mics for your show, by all means, my man,
They
do
say
it.
case, right? Copy and steal everything.
Copy and steal everything.
Steal it.
Anyway, thank you so much to Duane Weed for being our guest.
Thank you.
That has been a great show. Wouldn't you say, Kenzie?
Yes.
You happy with that? Is there anything that we goofed up or that you feel like you need to help correct us on? I know that's not your usual job, but since Dom isn't here, I just wanted to know if we blundered anything.
Not to my knowledge, but I did look up Brad Pitt's real age because I was very curious. He is 61.
Boom.
That is so surprising.
Believe me, I wasn't exaggerating. If he wasn't, I wouldn't have said.
I know it was just a
I
role,
wish it
but
wasn't true.
Is he a vampire?
Is he death? Okay, what about that other role where he was literally death and he was just permanently beautiful? You know,
Both of those things could be true.
these questions will remain
Hollywood
unanswered. Let's go
magic.
with the two-shot. That's it for this week, everybody. We are the hosts that love you so much. I'm Chris Jane.
And I'm Pat Brooks.
And remember, kids, kindness is contagious. Okay? Go out there and be the example that you want to see in the world. Nobody else is going to do it for you, unfortunately. And we are all watching and we're counting on you. So best of luck, everybody.
We'll see you next week.
We'll see you next week. That's what's up for this week. Hit the music, Kenzie.